In the stillness of the night under the silver gaze of a full moon, something ancient stirs. A shadow in the forest. A howl that pierces through silence like a cry from another world. For centuries we've whispered about them. Monsters wrapped in flesh and fur, man and beast. The werewolf. The legend of the werewolf is one of the oldest and most terrifying in human history. A creature torn between two worlds, one foot in civilization, the other clawing through the primal dark. A man cursed to transform under the full moon, eyes that gleam with unnatural light, fangs that hunger for blood, a predator hiding inside us all. But where did it begin? Some say it started in ancient Greece. The tale of Lycaon, a king who dared to serve human flesh to the gods. As punishment, Zeus transformed him into a wolf, condemned to live forever with the taste of sin on his tongue. Others trace it to Nordic sagas, where warriors donned wolf pelts and became berserkers, unstoppable beasts on the battlefield, or to medieval Europe, where fear of witches and shapeshifters birthed dark trials and darker stories. The werewolf has always been more than just a monster. It is a mirror, reflecting our fears of losing control, of becoming something savage, untamed, monstrous. It's the embodiment of transformation, the ordinary twisted into the extraordinary. A man by day, a beast by night. Its characteristics are unmistakable: supernatural strength, heightened senses, unquenchable bloodlust, a body that changes, bones snapping, muscles tearing, eyes burning, as the man becomes something other. And yet, for all its horror, the werewolf remains seductive. It haunts not just our nightmares, but our stories, our screens, our imaginations. From classic horror films like The Wolfman to modern retellings in Underworld and The Witcher, the werewolf has evolved, no longer just a monster, but a symbol of rage, of wildness, of the animal within. But here's the chilling truth. What if the werewolf was never just a myth? What if nature, in its endless creativity, has already birthed creatures that live, hunt, and survive just like the legends foretold? They prowl the shadows, they hunt in silence, and they are very, very real. In the next chapter, we descend deeper into the wilderness to discover the real-life creatures that echo the myth, the living werewolves among us, flesh and blood, tooth and claw. They don't wait for a full moon. They were born this way. We think of werewolves as stories, ancient tales carved from fear and folklore. But nature doesn't care about myths. It writes its own horrors. Scattered across the globe are creatures that don't need curses or moonlight to transform. They were born with razor teeth, eyes that see in the dark, bodies built to stalk, chase, and kill. These aren't supernatural beings. They don't rise from graves or lurk in fantasy. They walk beside us, hiding in forests, caves, and deserts, watching, waiting. Meet the maned wolf of South America. It looks like something pulled from a nightmare. Long, thin legs, a fiery red mane, and a body that's neither fully wolf nor fox. At twilight it emerges, moving silently through tall grass, its glowing eyes scanning the horizon. Or the Ethiopian wolf, a hauntingly rare predator from the highlands. Sleek, silent, with an eerie bone-colored coat and a gaze that cuts like frost. It hunts alone but howls in chorus, its cries echoing across the mountains like ancient songs of mourning. Then there's the Tasmanian devil. Small, yes, but don't let that fool you. Its bite is one of the strongest, pound for pound, in the animal kingdom. It feasts on flesh, bone, and all. Its screams pierce the night, sounding more like tortured spirits than animals. These are nature's shapeshifters, creatures with strange, uncanny features that don't quite belong. Their behavior mirrors the myth. They're nocturnal, thriving under the cover of darkness. They move with unnatural grace. They hunt with precision, guided by senses beyond our comprehension. And then there are the striped hyenas, often mistaken for wolves. Hyenas are creatures of legend in their own right. In many cultures, and from North Africa to India, they were believed to hypnotize their prey, to steal children in the night, to laugh at death. Their jaws can crush bone. Their eyes reflect the moonlight like mirrors into another world. And when they run, It's not with the elegance of a predator, but with a lurching, twisted gait that almost mimics transformation. Brief beat, unsettling silence. Nature, it seems, has a sense of humor and a flair for horror, because for every tale of a cursed man turning beast, there's a creature out there living it. No magic required. Real werewolves don't need spells or silver bullets. They survive because evolution shaped them into apex predators. Flesh was molded into function, instinct sharpened into art. And, the most terrifying part, we share the planet with them. Sometimes we even look into their eyes, at the zoo, on the trail, in the wilderness, without ever realizing how close we are to the very legends we once feared. These aren't monsters. They are survivors, and they've been here long before our story, and they'll be here long after. In the next chapter, we leave the solitary creature behind and enter the world of the pack. Because what is more terrifying than a single predator, a dozen moving as one, thinking as one, killing as one? One creature can terrify a village, but a pack, that's something else entirely. In folklore, the werewolf begins as one, isolated, cursed. But once the transformation is complete, he no longer stalks alone. He becomes part of something larger, a brotherhood of beasts, bound not by blood, but by instinct, by hunger. Enter the wolf pack, nature's most efficient, most chilling example of teamwork. A force that moves with purpose, not chaos. Within a pack there is structure, an invisible chain of command built on dominance, submission, and respect. At the top, the alpha, not always the biggest, but always the boldest, the one with the eyes that never blink, the growl that silences arguments before they begin. Beneath the alpha are lieutenants, enforcers, protectors, and at the bottom, the omega, the scapegoat, the pressure valve, the outcast who keeps the rest united. Wolves do not howl at the moon for no reason. They communicate, across great distances, through haunting cries that carry through trees and stone. Their howls tell stories. I'm here, we hunt tonight. You are not alone. Like werewolves, their unity isn't just emotional. It's tactical. Wolfpack is a military operation. They scout, surround, and strike in silence. They know their terrain, they read the wind. They move with a predatory synchronicity that seems unnatural. Some indigenous legends speak of spirit wolves, packs that disappear into the mist only to reappear when the village is vulnerable. Others tell of skinwalkers, beings that wear the bodies of wolves to hunt and deceive. Whether you believe in myth or not, one truth remains. When you face a pack, you don't face animals. You face a collective mind, bonded by loyalty, sharpened by necessity, and driven by the ancient knowledge of the hunt. And here's the chilling parallel. The werewolf myth often depicts a man infected not just with a curse, but with belonging. He loses his human conscience but gains a tribe of killers. He's no longer afraid because he is part of something ancient, something feral, something that understands him without words. Is that not what we all want? To be understood, to be accepted, to be feared. So perhaps it's not just fear that binds us to the myth of the werewolf. Perhaps it's longing. Up next, we go deeper into the body of the predator. We'll uncover the adaptations that make these creatures unstoppable. The muscles, the senses, the weapons nature designed to pierce, crush, and rip through the night. Because to understand the legend, we must understand the hunt. Horror doesn't always wear a mask. Sometimes it's muscle, sometimes it's bone, sometimes it's something you never see coming. Behind every werewolf legend is a beast defined not just by fury, but by form. Nature is the original sculptor, and what it carves to kill. Let's begin with the weapon that defines every predator, the bite. Take the gray wolf, with jaws that exert over 400 pounds of pressure per square inch. That's enough to snap bone, crush sinew, and silence life in seconds. Now imagine that power, scaled into the myth. Fangs that stretch, elongate, tear through flesh like parchment. But wolves aren't alone. The spotted hyena wields a bite force that can reach up to 100 psi. It doesn't kill with elegance. It devours bone, tendon, cartilage. Nothing is wasted. Its jaws are designed for obliteration. Now imagine that efficiency in the hands or claws of a mythical creature. The werewolf doesn't need tools. Its body is the weapon. Then, there are the senses, honed beyond human comprehension. Wolves can detect a scent from over a mile away. Their world is built on invisible trails. Every breath a story. They know where prey walked, how long ago, and what it felt before it died. Their hearing? Sharp enough to detect the twitch of a rabbit's leg beneath the snow. While we stumble through the dark, wolves hear the rustle of wings, the heartbeat of fear. And their eyes, not just sharp in the day, but forged for the night. They see movement where we see shadows. They see life where we see darkness. Imagine the terror of that gaze, golden glowing, fixed on you from the trees. Not blinking, not moving, just watching, waiting. Then there's agility. The werewolf myth often portrays sudden, explosive movement. A man leaping from a rooftop, landing in a crouch, eyes wild. In nature, it's no fantasy. The African wild dog can sprint at over 40 miles per hour, zigzagging through trees with impossible precision. The snow leopard launches itself 30 feet in a single bound, even through high-altitude winds. The wolverine, though small, charges through snowdrifts with the endurance of a beast 5 times its size. These are not monsters, but survivalists. Every tendon, every muscle fiber exists to overcome, to outlast, to conquer. And perhaps the most haunting adaptation of all, resilience. Wolves don't just hunt, they endure. They chase prey for miles, waiting for the moment fatigue becomes fatal. They don't fight for bloodlust, they fight because winter is long, and hunger never sleeps, just like the werewolf. Never satisfied, never still. These adaptations are not fantasy. They are biology at its most brutal. They're not confined to myths or silver screens. They walk, crawl, and run across our planet. And they have for thousands of years. So maybe when we dream of werewolves, when we fear them, it's not because we believe they're supernatural. It's because, deep down, we recognize them. We see the echoes of something real, something ancient, something buried in our own DNA. In the final chapter, we step back from the fear and look, perhaps for the first time, with respect. Because not all monsters are evil, and not all predators deserve our fear. Some deserve our awe. We've followed the tracks through blood and folklore. We've listened to the howls, watched the hunt, and stood in awe of nature's terrible design. But now, let's take a breath. Not every clawed creature is a killer. Not every sharp tooth belongs to a monster. What we call terrifying is often just misunderstood. The legend of the werewolf taught us to fear transformation, to distrust the animal inside the man. But the animals themselves, the real ones, they transform not out of choice but necessity. They don't kill for pleasure. They kill to live. They adapt because they must. Because the world is cruel. Because survival is the oldest war. The wolf, so long demonized, is in truth a keystone species. Its presence balances ecosystems. Its hunt protects herds from overpopulation. Its absence, destruction. When wolves were wiped from Yellowstone, the landscape suffered. Deer overgrazed, forests thinned, rivers changed course. When the wolves returned, so did balance. And the hyena, not a laughing scavenger, but a matriarchal marvel. One of the most intelligent social hunters on the planet. Misunderstood because it doesn't fit our neat little categories. Not quite a dog, not quite a cat. A creature all its own. Even the wolverine, so often painted as savage, is a symbol of resilience, surviving where few others can. A ghost of the tundra, fierce not by choice but by demand. These animals don't exist to haunt our dreams. They exist to remind us of wildness, of instinct, of the untamed truth that despite our cities, our screens, and our stories, we are still part of nature. And that is the real heart of the werewolf myth. Not horror, not fantasy, but a mirror. We fear werewolves because we fear losing control. We fear the part of ourselves that hungers, that hunts, that howls at injustice and pain. The part that rages when cornered, that runs when it must, that fights when it's wounded. But that part, that animal within us, is not evil. It's ancient, it's sacred, and it's exactly what saves us. So the next time you hear a howl in the distance, don't be so quick to reach for your silver. Instead, listen, because maybe it's not a monster. Maybe it's a message from the old world, from the forests that remember, from the wildness still whispering in your bones. Not to be feared, but to be understood. This has been real-life creatures inspired by werewolves. The myths will always haunt us, but the truth? The truth is even more powerful, because nature doesn't create monsters. It creates survivors, and sometimes survivors look like wolves. If you enjoyed this story and want more chilling legends and terrifying tales, make sure to like this video. It really helps us out. You can also click on our Ultimate Werewolf playlist to watch more horror and cryptid stories. The link is in the description below. And if you love horror, folklore, and unexplained mysteries, subscribe to the channel and join our growing community of fear seekers. But don't stop there. Turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon so you never miss a new story. Because in the world of horror, the scariest things happen when you least expect them. And trust me, you don't want to be left in the dark. Welcome to the darkness.